great day for work here at the Happy Healthy Workplace podcast. I'm Kimberly Ficklin, your host. And every week we talk to professionals just like you all around the world because we want to find out what they do to create a profitable business, the kind of business where people really want to work. All right, today we're talking to Natalie Fairchild, and Natalie is the owner and founder of Pacific Perks. Pacific Perks is a flat-fee mobile cafe specializing in creating a fun and surprising experience. Over the past 10 years, they've been working side by side with their customers, creating over 10,000 successful catering events and over 9 honors from a variety of reputable local sources. And I'm going to name drop just a few of their customers. Their client list includes Hilton, Wells Fargo, Regents, Nike, and many more. Pacific Perks was nominated to the podcast by a colleague of mine who heard a story from one of the baristas that worked for Natalie. He was so impressed by the story, he knew she needed to share it. So I'm going to let Natalie fill in the gaps here, but it goes a little like this. Natalie's employees pick their own schedules, yet her business profitability doesn't suffer. In fact, quite the opposite. It thrives. So we're going to ask Natalie to share her success of a truly innovative scheduling practice. Natalie, I want to thank you first for taking time out of your busy day to be with us.
Thank you so much. I'm honored to be talking with you.
We're going to love this one. This could be a great episode. Now, in episode 2, we chatted a bit about flexible schedules and the challenge that employers face when trying to implement it. We know that yours, Natalie, is a success. So tell us all about it. Why did you even start with that kind of scheduling philosophy?
Well, the whole reason Pacific Perks even started was because my family needed a life change that included flexibility and balance of life. And I knew I needed that for myself and my family. So that became one of our core values as a business, whether we knew it in the very beginning or not. And it spread through everything that we do. And so our business is also unique in that it's event oriented. You know, we specialize in espresso bar catering, but it is the catering aspect of it. So it's event oriented. So we're not sure exactly if we're going to have, 10 events every single day or 20 events every single day. So we needed to capture a marketplace, a niche market for employees, and we like to call them perkologists, whether they're serving espresso or scooping ice cream or making crepes, they're creating an experience. But we had to create a niche market, a pool of people where they had flexibility in their schedule. So they didn't maybe always need to have an event or this amount of hours every day, every week. And then in turn, we gave them the flexibility to where they could choose their schedule. So many of our people have been in the working world, became parents, maybe stayed home with their kids or worked part-time. Their kids are getting a little bit older. They want to add more income to their family, or they want to just get out and balance out their life. And so they can say, hey, I volunteer in my son's classroom every Tuesday. That is not a day I'm available. Or Sunday is strictly family time. And everyone has their own unique story. And it works for so many of them that we've shown a huge amount of retention.
Yeah, talk a little bit about that. Tell me, how long is your longest perkologist been with you?
Yeah. So Tristan's been with me for, I would say, we're going on our 12th year. So he's been with me around 11 years, and his position has evolved where it was, hey, I'm going to school, trying to get into a tech program. And while I'm doing that, he started helping us out. And the avenue and the door of what he thought he was going to do did not open. And he's got a career and actually owns some of the business. We have others that have been with us 9, 10, 8 years, lots of them in the 4 to 6 year range. It just works with them. And as their lives changed, we can change with them. I recently had a new perkologist that I hired in the fall, and she is fantastic. Love having her part of the team. And she said, my husband's schedule is changing and it's going to make it really hard to work. I hate to do this, but I need to give my notice. And I said, no, wait a minute. We can meld with you. If you're open to it, we're open to it for you to stay in the game. And if it's a season of life where you're not being able to do as many events, and maybe that season will change again and you can pick them up again. So she said, yeah, no, that's great. I guess I didn't realize that was a possibility. So we've got all kinds of situations, and I love each one of their stories. And, for a lot of business owners, employees can be their number one headache or stress or challenge. And I have to say that's one of my least worries. I'm really proud about that.
That's a really great story. Retaining people. I mean, your employees feel very loved and respected and cared for more as a family when you tell them, look, you're very important to us and we want to make sure that you stay. So what can we do to help you do that?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a win-win. And when you can recognize great people in your organization, you're more willing to just do whatever you can to make it a win-win. I've had one gal that I brought on, I saw her talent and I said, hey, have you thought about this? And she, of course, didn't even realize it was an opportunity out there. And she's worked with us. And then there's times where she's choreographed drama shows and she has to take a step back. And then there's other times she's full force and then she has to take a step back and now she's going into school, but she still does events for us and her availability is constantly changing, but she's so great. And, I love seeing her smile every time she comes to work an event. It's like, why would we let that go?
Oh gosh. But you know what? Here's the thing is that people don't really always think that way. In the workplace, for the most part, people are a dime a dozen, right? They're coming and going and they're new training and they're this and that. And it doesn't really feel a lot of times like people are happy that their employees are happy. And that's what I just heard you say.
Yeah, absolutely. My philosophy and through my life experience is that life, you go along and you have a plan and life will throw you some curveballs or opportunities open or doors shut. And it's always a constant flow and that we all just need to adjust to that and ride with that. And I think if you stand by those people and their life situations and support what they're doing, it's a benefit to everyone. And you do, I think, internally start to build that loyalty to your employees and them to you, for sure.
Right. Well, I mean, if you don't spend time keeping and retaining your great employees, then you're just spending more time training, right? People are just coming and going and you spend a lot of time training. And if you can recognize that retaining the employees actually costs a lot less, right? Than going out and trying to have to hire somebody new, train them. And sometimes businesses suffer when that employee is gone.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Also, we have that knowledge that comes with an employee who's been working for you, right? And sometimes, especially I would imagine in like event space and things like that. So you've got these people that are not just working, but they're also helping you create your business out at events and things, right? So people are looking at your business as a whole, and they're actually customer service. Right? They're not just serving coffee to someone. It's much more than that. They're speaking with people and they're engaging and they're, making relationships with people so that you guys get other opportunities to go out and cater events, right? So that's big.
Exactly.
Have them be that invested. Yeah. So if you lost somebody that somebody really liked, you have a client that just loves this percologist and always asks for that person. And now that person, like you had mentioned, has some life balance problem right now, right? And well, we're going to have to let that person go or they're going to go because of their life situation right now. And then your client suffers. So it's like, it's a win-win-win when you can offer that. Yeah. And again, I go back to how it must make your employee feel when they know that they're so special that you really want to keep them there. I think that just the fact that one of your employees was telling a story, and I'm going to dive kind of into that story a little bit and let you tell us Okay, so Zoya is the perkologist that you have that was speaking with my colleague, and she was telling a story. Okay, so I say this because when your employees are out in the public telling people stories, that means you've made a significant impact in their business. And I don't know how long Zoya's been with you.
It's been about 3 years.
Okay, wow. So she's just out in the public. She's having a coffee meeting or something, I think is what it was. And she begins to tell this story about this flexible schedule. And she tells a very specific story about around Christmas time when you took on some events more than what you normally would have because, of course, it's the holidays, right? You're saying, oh, okay, well, we don't have enough people for this schedule. I'm going to hire some new people. And your perkologist, I love that you gave me a word to call them. Your perkologist said, no, don't do that. We will step up and we'll figure it out, right? We'll get us all on the schedule and we'll get it taken care of. But you knew that meant that was going to be time away from their families during the holiday. And so therefore you're like, nope, I said this is the way it was going to be at the very beginning and I'm not going to make that change. I think that's a beautiful story. And it's really wonderful, again, that somebody shares that out in the public. She's telling people this. I mean, that's what you're here today for, is because you've made such an impact on your employees that they're talking about you. So tell us a little bit more, dive a little bit deeper in that story.
Yeah.
Share it with us, please.
Yeah. So with that story, we were having some staffing issues where we were having growing pains. We were growing some more. And it's like, how do we cover these events, giving them flexibility, but trying to get these events covered too, without saying you have to be there at this time and you have to do this event. And we were really, really, really brainstorming. Do we start saying you have to pick a weekend out of each month that you're going to be available for us? We were just brainstorming on a bunch of ideas. And it just came down to, actually, Tristan told me, he's like, Nat, your whole philosophy is flexibility, and that's our core. And I was like, yep, that's not an option. We can't do that. We have to come up with another option. So the trade-off for us was, I have to have a bigger pool of people to pull from in order to cover all those events, because people do block themselves out. They go see their family. They take vacation as they should. They do life. And so I can't count on all 25 of them available every single day. So we had to create a bigger pool of people in order to cover those events and lower the stress in Tristan's life. But I have to say that loyalty piece, one thing popped into my mind is Tristan will send an email out and say, okay, guys, we're really going to need your help this week, and we're really going to need your help this certain week. Mark your vacations now, but FYI, if you can work for us this week, we really need it. Or he'll say, I've got another Saturday event. It happened last weekend. We had a couple events that came through, and like, I need some help. Who can help me out? You'll see that people will often step up, and maybe they were blocked out, but maybe they couldn't necessarily work in the morning, and maybe they had some time in the afternoon. They will step up and say, okay, I'll do it for you. I'll do it for you. And they love and adore him, and they know he's doing his best for them. So they often save us, a time or two too when we're in a pinch.
Well, again, it's because you're building a family there for them. It really is. It's about building something that matters, and it matters to them because it matters to you.
Right. Yeah. And I have to say, these perkologists, these people that we hire, one, the name perkologist came about because we used barista, but we do more than coffee. We do the waffles, the crepes, the ice cream, the smoothies. So perk is, of course, part of our name, and creating an experience like you talked about. When they're out there on the front lines, they are so much more than just serving or scooping ice cream or making a nice cup of coffee. They are there to create an experience. So this group of perkologists that I have, they have been handpicked, or they have been referred internally, or they have a personal connection from me. So many of them do. These are people that have been in the working world, that get it, that know how to handle situations on their own independently, because of course, as we know in business, Kimberly, things happen, and you've got to try and figure it out sometimes on the spot. These are people that know how to make a connection with other people, know how to make other people's day. And they also love it too, because of the way our pricing is structured. We never take money per item. So when you see our cart, people get to just enjoy it for free. And that feels good to be able to serve people something for free and everyone's happy. So
right. Then it's like a counter where people are coming up and saying, I'll take a coffee and here's $3.50, right? And there's some money exchange that happens. It certainly does change when money changes hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Expectations.
Our expectation,
yeah. Everything. Yeah. And to be able to just basically hand out and make people's day is very fun to do.
Yeah, it's a win-win-win, like we said earlier. But I had mentioned to you that after I heard your name, Pacific Perks, and I realized what you had done, and I was thinking, I know I've seen them before somewhere. And I asked you, wonder if you did an event that I was at, and I'm pretty sure, I'm almost absolutely positive. I couldn't say what the event was, but I know that seen you in action. And I don't know if it was you or who it was working, but I do remember speaking to that person and asking a lot of questions, because to me, it seemed like such a great idea, was because it wasn't just normally you go to a networking event and they've got the Starbucks box of coffee, you know what I mean? And you're pouring your own, or they've got it out of something that somebody made a thing of coffee. But to go somewhere and have somebody make up a latte and you know what I mean? And then also not, like you said, the money exchange, I didn't think about that until just when you said it, that it created a different experience. And then I sat and spoke with the person, asked a lot of questions about, because I thought it was really neat that this thing that you've done was in existence. So.
Right. And that's kind of one of our challenges probably, is that a lot of people don't know the service is actually something that exists and is an option, for their company events or sales meetings or whatever it is. So yeah, it's fun, and it's been a journey, and it's been an honor to see it evolve. For sure.
Yeah, I just think this is such a great thing to do. You said something, so I'm going to take us back there real quick. As you said that Tristan said at the core is that we don't do it this way, right? You were like, you're right. And a lot of times in business, I know myself included, when we first start out, we have like a list of rules, right? Because this is a great thing to do for our business, is we make this is what we will do and this is what we won't do, right? Because every time we become emotionally involved in a decision, we can go back to the whiteboard that says, this is what we don't do. And this is what we do. I do it in my own business as well, all the time. And I feel very powerful and very confident when I'm able to take my emotions out of it and say, aha, I remember how this is supposed to be. And I'm not going to feel bad. This is how we do it. So let's do it. And I love that you said that's at your core, because that is very important, to be able to go back to something that you decided was really important when you started your business.
Absolutely. The funny thing is though this is your core, right? We still can kind of fight with that internally, even with me personally. So started this business for flexibility, and I needed to balance my life out. And I remember, putting different expectations on me that I put on the rest of my team. I think you've got that owner hat and you're like, am I doing enough? Type of thing. But I know what I need to be successful and to be my best self and the best leader that I can. And that's to balance my life out. And so I've had to also learn with me, even though I easily give it out, I have to learn with me that I have to honor that in myself, and that I do have that ability and flexibility to take the time that I need to be at my kids' stuff without having that guilt. And it's still, even though it's my core, it's a constant reminder. Nope, you're fine. You're just where you're at. You've created the business so that everything is still flowing while you're not there. And we all have been able to enjoy that.
Yeah, that's what you lead by example. So if your employees can see that even when it's difficult for you to say, hey, I need to take this time, then they can as well. And they don't have the guilt behind it either, because they see that you do it, right? So even when it's difficult. So I love that.
Exactly. And I expect my employees to live. And Zoya is a wonderful, loyal employee. She's part of our operations team. And I've had to push her to take vacation. And it's been, you have to do this. You have to do this. And do not, why are you answering your phone? Or, I've told them, like, if I'm checking some emails and sending some things out on the evening, I do not expect you to respond. In fact, I do not want you to respond. It'll be there in the morning when work starts.
Yeah.
So we have to all help each other keep that balance and know that it's okay to take that. Because I think we're hardwired. The more time you spend and the more you do is definitely more rewarded, I think, in our society.
I completely agree with that. I've actually written about that before. I call it our busy badge of honor. And we think that it's a badge of honor if we're busy, if we're always telling people, oh, I'm busy. But we're really, a lot of us are busy not doing very much. We're just busy.
Exactly.
We just really, what it is we fill our lives full of things that really don't matter so much. And we don't, like you said, think about what does matter, family and vacation, self-care, and, not being busy all the time. So when you have an employer that can help you recognize that, because you're right, we are hardwired, or at least that's what I believe as well, is that we're hardwired that way. Because, think about generations when our parents were working. You went to work. You didn't call in sick. You showed up. And even if it was a crappy place to work, you showed up. And we've definitely become more lax and, moving into our world now about the way that we think about that. Right now we get a little more like, not so much. I'm going to call it sick for a mental health day because I can't even just go to work today. But I love the flexibility. For me, what I love most about what you're offering is it's not even just a flexible schedule. It's beyond that, because it's not just me saying I can't work Tuesday, but I can work Saturday. I can't work this day, but I can work this day. And I can't work these hours, but that hours. But it's literally saying my life right now needs me more. So I have to step back. And man, I don't want to lose my job because of that. And you're offering up this space where they can do that. It really is. Sometimes I know it sounds weird. Probably sounds weird to the listeners, but everybody's going to get to know me here soon. Is that it kind of gives me chills, because I've worked in some places that were not that way. Even when my story is that I was very ill in the corporate world, and I didn't have, there was none of that. You know what I mean? It was, do you have to have surgery next week? I was kind of like that.
Yeah.
So it really does. This is why I have the podcast, because I love to share the space with employers who really, really care. So this to me is just, it really did give me the chills when we start to talk about, you telling your employees, no, you really need that time off as well, and being the leader by example.
And keeping each other in check, because a lot of us are hard on ourselves that way. Kimberly, I used to remember as, I'm going through the business and younger in the business, and people say, oh, I was at the office till 11 p.m. And it was kind of that badge of honor. And I'm thinking to myself, I can't be at the office till 11. I don't want to be at the office till 11. And am I going to make it if I'm not at the office till 11 p.m.? And it's interesting because I've watched some scenarios play out with people when I thought to myself, I don't know how they're doing it. And should I be doing that? That constant check-in. And I go back to no, okay, Nat, what is good for you is balance of life. And that's our core. And it's interesting to see as the years have gone on, how those people, if those people survived or not. And a lot of them haven't.
I can't imagine.
It's so easy for us to be hard on ourselves quickly when there's something to be said about balancing it along the way. So you're managing your life, you're managing burnout, you're managing your mental well-being, all of that. You're managing your family, so you're not creating huge mistakes for your kids. And, you're just doing the best you can. And it does, I think, in the long term, create longevity. It's kind of like the retention for your employees. Like, I can't put an exact number on how much we've saved by creating a flexible working environment, but I know that my employee issues are way less. And I know that there's times when we need them, how much they have stepped up. And I know overall that employees are not an issue for me. We're improving ourselves and empowering ourselves along the way, but there's little issues. And so that's how I can equate it. And then I'm still here 11 plus years and still going at it and not throwing in the towel.
Yeah. And still enjoying it.
Enjoying it. Yeah. Enjoying it and creating a team where if I need to, and I need a day to step out of it, I can do that. And the business still moves forward. And believe me, I take those for sure.
That's good. Again, leading by example.
Yeah.
So I did bring you on, to speak about the flexible work schedule. But when I was looking at your
Yeah.
website, I noticed something else. And this is another thing that we talk about that is a benefit to employees. It's also a benefit to our community and obviously their work and employer. But I want to talk to you about your You've Been Perked campaign because I saw that on your website. I think it's super cute. I love how you guys have that set up on your page with the pictures and some videos and that. So talk to me a little bit about how that came about. And once you adopted a givers campaign in place, how that kind of made a difference in your workplace.
Yeah, so that was kind of a collaboration of great people on my team that came together with the idea, and a gal that I work with on marketing created the adorable logo, and I loved it. And those are the types of things that give me energy. I'm like, oh, that's fantastic. So we started out by nominating companies, and then they would do kind of a Facebook challenge, and then whoever won would nominate 3 more companies and rotating it. And we did have a challenge with kind of keeping that going sometimes, as lots of nonprofits and associations are so busy. So we also had an internal program of You've Been Perked that our employees are involved in. And we're really promoting that because it's just so heartfelt. They get to pick it. They get to do it. So basically how it works is that once a year, at least, we want them to do this, where they select an organization. Maybe it's a school, maybe it's someone in need, maybe it's a fundraiser, whatever is, important to them in their life, they give a free cart to. So we donate all the product for the event. We paid our perkologist to work the event. They forgo a gratuity for the event, and it's free to whoever they're giving it to. So we've got You've Been Perked shirts that they wear. We have them take pictures. We follow up with them, see how it was. We'd love to put it on our newsletter and on our website and things like that. So a new employee, Sarah, was like, I can't wait to do it. And so she just did it for her school, for the teachers and staff. Lisa just did it for the Gresham Police Department. And what an impact that made. They'd never considered anything like this. And it was when police officers were going off shift and coming on shift.
Mm-hmm.
And what it did is kind of our espresso bar becomes the kitchen at a party. When you have a party at your house, everyone congregates in the kitchen. So we kind of create that kitchen environment. And she said it was so great to just stand back and see, this was the chief there, to see how the community with all of the police officers was happening, the conversation. People, instead of running home, were kind of staying there and connecting with other people. And that makes such a big impact. So each employee gets an opportunity to do that every year. And we talk about it at all our meetings. And it's been super fun for them to be able to give back. And for us too.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun. Actually, I just booked a guest who is going to be speaking to us about giving, in the workplace.
Oh, nice.
So that goes right along when I was like, oh, that's interesting what they do.
One challenge we have with how our company is set up is that we're not all working under one roof because our events are event oriented. So we see each other passing in the office warehouse in Tigard and in Vancouver. So it's not like we can all do a walk together or go do community service, because a lot of times we have events going on, during that time that we'd be doing that. So that ended up being a challenge. So it was like, well, let's give the hand back to the employee and what is important in their life. And so they're thrilled to be able to offer this to somebody or an organization that they think highly of, and that they're still getting paid to do it. And so it was kind of a win-win, kind of just because of how our company is structured. And so it's worked out well. And we're just trying to keep it promoted and really encourage people, like, this is for you to do, and we want you to do it, and we support it and love it. So,
and it sounds fun, and they love it too, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it must be such a great feeling to be standing there seeing the recipients of your gift, as that person who is empowered by their employer to give it.
Absolutely. Yep. And we get notes and we get cards and we get great photos and happy faces. Yeah. I think, again, it builds loyalty with our employees because they get to give a gift, and how good it feels to be able to give something. And so, you never want to deny anyone the gift to give you something. And so they get to be the hero, and we love that. And we know that giving back in the community is so important. And it didn't come just right away. It was we had to work through like, what's going to work good for our structure and how we work things, and being an only event oriented company. How can we do that and bring the employees into giving? So it's been great.
Well, it's a great idea. I love it. I just think it's really spectacular because it just gives them a certain power, I think, that most employees don't have on that giving side. And we all know that giving gifts, it's supposed to be about giving and not receiving, right?
Right.
But then we receive when we give. So it's just here we go again with the win-win-wins, right?
Absolutely.
Yep. That's
it forward.
Yeah, that's a great example of how you can help your employees to give. So we're going to be closing up here pretty soon, Natalie, but I just wanted to ask you as we come to a close, is there anything that you think hasn't been said that should be said?
Along the lines of what we've been talking about with balance of life and flexibility, I'm a very big proponent of women. I mean, everyone should take care of themselves, but women taking care of themselves and finding out what their needs are and what their recipe is for family and life and work and play, and keeping up with that recipe. I think women are programmed to be caregivers in lots of different realms, whether you're a parent or caregiving a spouse or a parent of yours or whatever it is. We often have been taught to put ourselves last and everyone else first. And that is good to a certain point, but I think the airlines have had it right the entire time. Put your mask on first before assisting others. And I've got two lovely daughters that are 17 and 18, and I'm really trying to teach them that it's okay to take care of you first so that you're able to give more. And it's something that I have to remind myself of all the time. So I feel very strongly about women getting in touch with what their needs are and what their recipe is, and following that as much as they possibly can.
And that is a very sage advice. we tend to be givers. We tend to be too much givers and not know how to say no, right?
Exactly. And sometimes it's okay to say no, and sometimes it's okay to say yes to life, but figuring out what gives you energy and what doesn't, and when you're done and when you're not done.
And that it's okay to let go of things.
And that exactly.
Yeah.
It's the balance of the go-getter life and the yoga life.
Right. Oh, I love that. That's a great saying. Is it all right if I use it?
Absolutely.
Wonderful.
Absolutely.
Well, Natalie, this has been great. I knew this was going to be a great podcast. I knew you were going to be a great guest. So I am so happy that you were nominated to come talk to me today. So I just want to thank you for being a part of the podcast, spending your time. And for everybody who's interested in finding out more about Pacific Perks, just look at the show notes, and we'll have links to their website where you can find out how you might be able to bring them right to your workplace and make your employees a little more happy and healthy. And also stay tuned for our episode about how to begin a giver's program in your workplace. That's a wrap for today. The Happy Healthy Workplace podcast is now complete. Be sure to subscribe and join us weekly for secrets, solutions, or strategies that help you create a profitable business where people really want to work. This is Kimberly Ficklin, wishing you a happy, healthy day.